Let me ask you something that might make you stop for a second. If it were December of next year and you were sitting right where you are right now, what would it actually take for you to say, yeah, this year really counted? Not a perfect year, not a highlight reel year, just a year that really mattered. Because I think most of us, especially those of us over 50, we keep moving the goalposts so far away that we never give ourselves an actual chance to win. And that's what I want to talk about today. I didn't used to think this way. For a long time, success meant big things, big changes, big confidence, big results, big, I finally figured it out energy. And if I didn't have those, well, then the year was kind of a wash. But here's what I learned. Most years don't fail because we didn't do enough. They fail because we never defined what enough actually was. So today I want to flip the question. Instead of what do I want to fix about myself, I want you to ask, what would realistically have to happen to make me feel proud? I'll be honest with you. If you would have asked me a year ago what I thought a successful year might look like, I would have probably said something like being more confident or learning something new or feeling less behind, which is all nice, but you can't measure that stuff. You can't actually see it, and you definitely can't celebrate it. So the year would end, and I'd feel like, well, I tried, but did I really do anything? And that feeling is exhausting. And it's one of the biggest reasons why people over 50 stop trying new things. Not because they can't learn, but because they don't know how to count progress anymore. Here's the mind shift that changed everything for me. Success is not a transformation, it's evidence. Evidence that you showed up differently, or you tried something that made you uncomfortable, and you didn't quit the moment that it felt awkward. So when I think about what would have to happen for this year to count, I don't think in outcomes anymore. I think in proof. I'm going to list some examples, and I want you to quietly think to yourself, would this be enough for me? You did one thing that you were scared of. Not 10, not a whole personality. Just one. Maybe you stepped outside of your comfort zone. You posted one video. You took a class. Or you asked a dumb question out loud. If you did one thing that you avoided for years, that year counts. Readiness is a moving target. If you can say by the end of next year, I started before I felt confident, that's success. Confidence comes after action, not before. Anyone telling you otherwise is lying or trying to sell something. You learned how to ask better questions. This one is huge, especially with AI. You don't need to know everything. You need to know how to ask. If this year taught you how to clarify what you want, how to break problems into smaller pieces, or how to say, explain this like I'm new, that's not small. That's a skill that you can use for the rest of your life. You trusted yourself a little more. Not magically, not perfectly, but maybe you didn't immediately assume that you were bad at this. You paused before quitting. You didn't let one mistake become a full-blown story of who you are. That's real growth. Quiet growth, but real. You have proof you didn't give up. This might be the most important one. A note, a messy video, a half-finished idea, something that says, I stayed in the room. If that exists, the year counted. Success is a trail, not a finish line. I think we imagine success as a destination, but it's more like a hiking trail. Some years you climb, and some years you stop a lot. And some years you just learn how to pack better. But as long as you stay on the trail, you're not failing. You're building stamina. I don't think success is about what you built or how much you changed. For me, this year counted because I stayed curious. And I proved to myself that I'm still capable of learning and growing. So here's the question I leave you with. If next year didn't change you completely, but it proved you were capable, Would that be enough? Because it should be. And if you're over 50 and you're still curious and you're still trying and you're still willing to learn, you're not behind. You're right on time. So when I ask myself, what would have to happen for this year to count? The answer is simple. I stayed curious. I didn't shut myself down the first time that something felt hard. And I proved to myself that I'm still capable of learning and growing, even now, especially now. And honestly, that's more than enough for me to call this year a success. If you're over 50 and you're wondering if you still have it in you to learn something new, maybe success this year doesn't mean becoming someone different. Maybe it means staying curious a little longer.